applicants who have been disproportionately impacted by the criminal enforcement of cannabis laws. This would bring the total number of retail outlets up to 33. That is the 9 hybrid and then the 24 new. And so just a little background, there are one current compassion center license that's under administrative appeal and another one that was withdrawn. And so those are the specifics around the licensing scheme when it comes to the Cannabis Act. And then as discussed, there are 6 zones. And so there are up to 24 total new licenses that can be issued, and it's going to be dispersed between these 6 zones, 4 per zone. There will be 2 general licenses, 1 worker cooperative license, and then 1 social equity license. And these are the actual outline of the zones and the municipalities in each of those zones. And so you'll see these here. There are 6 municipalities that rejected future cannabis establishments in their town or city. And you'll see that that's Smithfield, Scituate, East Greenwich, Barrington, Jamestown, and Little Compton. But overall, these are the 6 zones in which licenses will be split up. So the 24 licenses between the 6 zones, so there's 4 per zone. And I'm going to turn that back over to Carla.
Thank you, Sharon. Again, my name is Carla Aveledo, Policy and Legal Liaison for the Cannabis Control Commission. I'm going to be diving into something that the Cannabis Act created, which were disproportionately impacted areas in the context of the Cannabis Act. So disproportionate DIAs, I'm going to call them just for brevity and efficiency. So DIA's residency within a DIA is one of the ways that an individual can qualify for one of those 6 social equity licenses. So you must first qualify as a social equity applicant, which is a prerequisite for one of those 6 available social equity licenses under the state's cannabis licensing framework that Sharon just gave an overview of. So the Act lists specific criterion to consider for the Commission to determine these disproportionately impacted areas. Those criterion included crunching data on SNAP data, poverty rate, and unemployment rate, and participation in the federal free lunch program, and high rates of criminal arrests and convictions. So in order to determine these geographic areas, the Commission analyzed all of that data, the criterion, at a census tract level. And that is what you see in this map here. So the data available with that level of granularity included high rate participation rates of SNAP, elevated unemployment rates, and significant poverty levels. So that is when the Commission honed in on those 3 criteria, and that is the areas here. So so you can go to the next slide, Sharon. And I just want to say too that we will be sharing this slide deck to the league so that you can really go in, you can zoom in on those maps, see where those DIAs are. But in a quick overview of the findings of the Commission's study of DIAs within Rhode Island, those orange census tracts that were smaller were the areas that met all 3 of those data sets: the SNAP, unemployment, and federal free lunch program. So just reading off here, there were in Central Falls, 2 out of the 4 census tracts in Central Falls were highlighted as DIAs. Newport had 1 census tract as a DIA. Pawtucket has 3 census tracts. And Providence has 12 census tracts lighting up, meeting all those criteria, and Woonsocket has 6 out of the 13. So I just want to pause here really quickly. We often get a question, do being within these DIAs, those census tract, does that indicate where future stores will be or where they have to be? And the short answer is no. Going back to when I first started speaking, the DIAs are really only relevant to those applying for social equity applicant status, which you need to have before being able to be eligible for a social equity license. So I know there's a lot of layers to this, so um, we're gonna have a discussion afterward if there's a lot of questions, so we're here to answer them. So next slide. We'll go into Rhode Island's future cannabis retail landscape. Next slide. Okay, so Sharon touched on this. In 2022, there was that statewide referendum whether new cannabis-related licenses for businesses involved with cultivation, so growing, manufacturing, laboratory testing, and retail. The reason why we're here, these retail stores of adult use recreation cannabis be used in the city or town. So Sharon highlighted that 31 of the cities and towns voted yes to allow this type of business activity in the towns, cities and towns, and 6 rejected that measure. So that means that these listed towns here will not have any of these 24 licenses distributed in their stores. And then I'm kicking it back over to, I believe, Michelle.
Yes, so hopefully you can hear me.
Good.
Thank you, Carla. Yes, awesome. So the next couple slides, we talk a little bit about revenue. And so you'll get to see how the municipal interaction happens at the tax level. So a 3% municipal tax is applied to all adult use cannabis sales in the state of Rhode Island. The revenue from this tax goes directly to the municipality where the cannabis is delivered to the customer, whether through in-person purchases or licensed delivery. However, the overwhelming majority of revenue is generated from in-person transactions at retail locations. Importantly, there are no restrictions on how municipalities may choose to spend these funds, creating a direct financial benefit for cities and towns that host cannabis retail establishments. Next slide. You'll see here in fiscal year 2024, municipalities with active retail locations received a combined total of nearly $2.5 million in municipal cannabis tax revenue. Warwick led all municipalities with close to $1 million, followed by Pawtucket and Providence. These figures demonstrate not only the financial potential of the market, but also consistent growth in quarterly revenue, which signals a steady consumer demand across the state. Next slide. As we look at fiscal year 2025 to date, the revenue has already surpassed $2.1 million through the third quarter. While the fourth quarter figures are not yet realized, early trends point toward continued growth. So just take a look at this slide here and you can kind of see how and where the money is coming in at the municipal level. And we are continuously tracking that to learn more and understand purchasing trends and sales trends across the state of Rhode Island. Next slide. And this is just a different look at kind of the same information, but as we compare municipal cannabis tax revenue year over year, we see a clear upward trend. From July to January, each quarter has outperformed the same period in the previous fiscal year. July and October saw increases between 22 and 24%, while January posted a 12% gain. So we have a sustained growth across the state and just a real opportunity here for cannabis across the state of Rhode Island and growth in cannabis across the state of Rhode Island. And with that, I'll turn it back over.
Okay, so the next few slides are just going to touch on how the municipalities are involved with the future retail license applications. Next slide. Okay, so specifically with respect with municipal approval required, the Cannabis Act says when a complete cannabis establishment license application is submitted, the Cannabis Control Commission, or the CCC, must send a copy to the city or town where the business plans to operate. From there, The municipality will have 45 days. Again, this is all statutory. 45 days to inform the commission whether the application is not in compliance of the respective town's own rules and ordinances. This process, which I have here in the slide, is outlined in Rhode Island General Laws section 21-28.11-17.1, which covers all conditions, general conditions for licenses. Now, in those regulations that Michelle was speaking about earlier in her introduction, the commission went further and is, required significant key regulatory requirements for applicants to consider or require for them in the application stage. So we wanted to highlight a couple of them so that would be relevant at the municipal level. So first is that applicants must have final zoning approvals in place before they submit a complete application to the commission. And second, the municipality must certify the proposed business complies with all applicable local ordinances. So the requirement that I talked about statutorily, and then also this final zoning approval. So along with all other sorts of requirements like business plans and operation plans and things like that, that applicants must have, these are the ones that are relevant to the municipal, for you all municipalities. So both are essential for the applications to be able to move forward. Next slide. So, excuse me. So for next steps, the municipalities can be expecting at this point and going forward an influx of zoning applications for respective businesses, even though the commission has not yet opened retail applications. Under the commission regulations, future applications have been on notice. Also, not just, yes, the slide will be available. Absolutely. So despite the application period not having been open yet, the commission has monthly meetings where they've been discussing these requirements at large to the public. And also our regulations state exactly what these requirements are as part of what will be in the application process. So right now, the commission is currently exploring mechanisms to facilitate the forwarding of license applications to the corresponding municipalities, to that process that I just described in the previous slide. Our review right now is specifically focused on ensuring the secure delivery of these applications, as there's going to be they're large files with sensitive personal information and financial information of all of these respective applicants. So once we have that process confirmed, which we are going and assessing different options at the moment, the commission will communicate this process widely with the league and with municipalities, so that we can ensure that we're ready and we can collaborate for when the license application period has closed and the review process begins. Thank you.
And so if your city or town is interested in having further discussions or would like to establish direct communication rate with us, please feel free to reach out to me, Sharon Rose again, and I am the Chief of Public Affairs. This is my information. Obviously, it's sharon.rose@ccc.ri.gov, and my direct cell is 401-563-2503. We are going to be doing some outreach to you all in terms of reaching out to our municipal partners to really figure out who we should be sending these applications to, who in your municipality should be having conversations with us, and making sure that we're understanding your zoning and your zoning laws so we can best help our applicants. And so again, we'll be reaching out, we'll be sharing this actual presentation. And then if you have any questions, would like to establish a direct line of communication, feel free to reach out, and we will open it up to questions now.
For questions, if anybody wants to just take yourself off of mute, that's fine. Colin, did I
Yeah.
see?
Yep, thanks, Jen. Hey, ladies, excellent presentation. Really appreciate it. My question is about relationships with the federal government. As we know, it is still not marijuana is still not legal federally. It's not criminal. It's not gone after criminally, but administratively, I'm thinking of this from the lens of the Department of Defense and the National Guard Bureau and military installations. It's still not permitted on the installations, and members are still drug tested. And can be separated from service for those reasons. Have you had any discussions with, or have you been approached by any of those organizations at the federal level with any concern, or is this pretty much part and parcel of the national landscape now?
We'll let Michelle take that one.
Yes, no, thank you so much. We honestly have not had conversations around that, and I'm happy for Carla to kind of chime in too if she'd like to. But no, we have not had any conversations around that. You bring up an interesting point. We haven't, since I've been here about a year now, and so we haven't encountered any situations where we have had to navigate the federal illegality of cannabis at this time. We've particularly worked on, how it will operate in the state of Rhode Island and how to best serve our current licensees and future applicants. So we haven't ran across that, thankfully. But I don't know, Carla, do you have anything to add to that piece?
Definitely remember last year we did speak with Senator Reed's office. That was mostly about trying to see any sort of federal legislation that they might be putting in to pass that at the federal level, legalization. But that's really it. We are, like you said, it is part and parcel to what the national landscape is of just this being in a very much like a statewide approach, and states are operating under that that direction.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was just curious if you've been approached by any of those federal entities saying, hey, please don't put a store here because it would tempt, for example, some of our service members. But I also know that the education initiative within the military is very high, saying, hey, you should all know that while these locations and dispensaries are available, you are still held to a different standard and can be drug tested for that. So I think that internal messaging there is good. I was just curious if any of those organizations had approached any of you about resistance to a dispensary in a particular location. Sounds like they have not. So
They have not. Yes, you're accurate.
We have a question here with Mayor Hopkins, if we may.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. Hello. How you doing there?
Good, thank you. I know Cranston has 2 potential sites. I put an ordinance in through our council that was approved to put them in industrial areas. And we have 2 industrial areas in the city. A third group has applied for an application, and they've got a facility right on Reservoir Avenue. It was an old Pizza Hut, and they're waiting for approval. How do I know if that's going to be approved? And the concern there is they're telling me their application went in prior to my ordinance. So I know that we can put one in each of 2 industrial zones, which is the ordinance that I passed or the city council passed. But this one is right on Reservoir Avenue. How do I know if they're going to be approved based on a grandfather clause?
No, that's a great question, Mayor. I think what I would like to do is take that offline. I'm happy to reach back out to you and get a little bit more information. I don't want to misinform you or any folks on the call. I would certainly need to kind of roundtable with the staff and kind of get a little bit more information from you and the staff, and perhaps we can set up a call and I can get you a little bit more information on that piece. As Sharon mentioned too, we are also going to be headed to municipalities to discuss some of these kind of areas in detail. And so if you are interested in having that kind of discussion with us on a more intimate level, we're happy to do that as well.
Okay, Michelle, I'm gonna put Zach, uh,
Yes,
Zach,
I see.
he's my media coordinator. I'm gonna put him in charge of this and he'll be in contact with you.
Thank you.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. Happy to take it. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor and Zach. Any other questions? I don't see any other hands or anybody coming off of mute.
Can I hop in 1 second, Jen?
Yeah,
before we-
please, please,
Yes,
please,
so
please.
I do want to say, I think I got cut off in the beginning before I was able to mention that on behalf of the commission, we really appreciate this opportunity. As I was stating before the audio issues, we are chaired by Kim Ahern, and we have our part-time commissioners, Commissioner Jacquard and Commissioner Odingbo. And we really and truly are working diligently at the office and at the commission to really make sure that this is a seamless process for us at the office, the commission, as well as the municipality. So we have done some extensive research in the office to really identify areas where we may need to have, like I mentioned to the mayor, some more in detail conversations. I really do hope you take us up on those offers, because we are really excited about reaching out to you all and engaging with you all so that we can have an awesome process for our future applicants. So with that said, I just wanted to make sure I stated that, and just to let you all know, we are excited to collaborate, and we're looking forward to making this easy on both sides.
Awesome. That's what we like, right?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous.
Sorry, I actually have a quick
Oh, yeah, go
question I just thought of. So when I was looking at the law a little bit, I saw this, and then obviously you guys brought it up as well. So it's kind of like a funky chicken and egg thing, and I just wanted to get your opinion. So it sounds like we're gonna have to certify that they have all of their approvals necessary in the towns, and that's going to actually be part of their application. So it sounds like they can't apply until they have that. I guess my question is, we put our ordinance in place, and one of our requirements is that they have all of their state approvals. So would you recommend that that's something that probably would have to be removed or modified? What would you recommend for that?
Carla, you can hop in here. I don't know if you can still hear me. We did have that in another municipality that kind of came up, and we are certainly recommending, if we can get an amendment to the ordinance to be able to support that, we would really appreciate that. So Carla, did you have anything you wanted to add there? That's kind of my take on that piece.
I was going to say the same thing. Yes, that is, we have come across that in another town or municipality, and yes, we're working on amending that ordinance, because then applicants won't be able to really, right, like you said, they need that municipal approval before they can then get the license.
Right. Okay, that's good to know. And I know it says, that we need to make sure that they have all their zoning approvals. I don't know if that's talking about all approvals or just specifically zoning itself, but typically for us, any commercial proposal typically requires some other sort of review, sometimes development plan review or land development. I know for development plan review, as of right now, our checklist also still requires all state approval. Now there might be some leniency for that, in terms of maybe making it a condition in specific cases like this. But just so you're aware, I'm pretty sure that's hasn't changed in state law either, that development plan review requires all state approvals. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it was last I checked.
Good to know. Thank you. Yeah, and I think if I could just chime in, Michelle, like, we are aware that every municipality operates differently, in their own unique way, and especially within zoning. So we recognize that this is this will be a big piece that we need to all work together, and we are happy to be partners in those amendment processes, and so that this can be, as like Michelle said, as seamless as possible. So I feel it would be great if, we're working through our own list of municipalities and zoning ordinances, but if you, like those that have spoken up and said that they've already can foresee sort of a process challenge there because of requiring state approvals before the municipal approvals, it'd be great if you could reach out to, Sharon's contact so that we can establish that connection and identify the sort of problem areas or problem zoning ordinances to be able to work through that in due time.
Great, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, looks like we got it. All right. Well, again, I will be sure to get these slides back out to our communities, and I would certainly like to thank Carla and Michelle and Tehran for joining us today and trying to help us understand the process a little bit more. And we look forward to your partnership.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I wish I could have been on camera, but thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Next time, Michelle.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.